Now we're back to the initial motion on my motion on the 17th, and that is that at this point I think the motion would be to accept and incorporate the remainder of the Chiefs' security proposal and implement those programs as soon as possible.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Well, I think we've all pretty much agreed that the suggestions that the chief made for the, as a matter of fact, I can't think of any that I was opposed to. And again, the discussion so far was the security cameras. That was the bullet point on our agenda was security camera discussion, but I think it's the appropriate time to perhaps fold in the rest of the suggestions and start implementing those as well.
I would suggest, Rand, since you're making the motion, that especially for the public and the viewers at home, that you specify the elements of the proposal which are left and you are incorporating it to this motion then.
I mean, if I could just clarify, I mean, some of the things, we had education, he talked about some of the working with the general public, the youth and the district justice to come up with policies. He's talked about reporting, as was requested today, reporting, the incident reporting in the papers and regularly to the community, clearly defining the rules of behavior in our public spaces and parks, and making sure that parents are incorporated into the safety and the I guess behavioral enforcement activities of their children through citations and calls. He has a program for first time for juveniles and contacts and how he plans to handle them through warnings, violations, and incident reports. Talked about reviewing the frequency of reviewings of the incident reports and warnings by officers to the violators of public peace. He talks about implementing, he's proposing, and it's in the budget for next year, in late spring and early fall, extra patrol officers assigned to go between Starbucks and CVS. Developing periodic reports to council so that we are aware of the situations within this area. Updating the district justice of what's going on in the park. Continuing the strict enforcement of curfews. Incorporation of a town watch, and he did request volunteers, and I think we already have a couple volunteers to participate in town watch programs, and the police department will go and continue to solicit the volunteers.
So I have a question for our solicitor, I guess. How many of these items actually need to be governed by ordinance? For example, establishing a town watch. Do we need to do that by ordinance or by resolution or by motion? How does one set that up?
Typically, a town watch it's formed by a community. It's not necessarily formed by the municipality itself. They may give support to it, but it's independent of the municipality.
So would it be appropriate or not for Borough Council to make a motion that supports a town watch?
To support a town watch, I think that's appropriate.
But creating a town watch is probably best left to a community outside.
Typically, town watches are created by the community, organized by the community, maintained by the community with the support from the local government.
So not created by the police department. Okay. Then secondly, the policy that was outlined in this proposal regarding how juveniles will be not reprimanded, but will be dealt with on various infractions of misbehavior. Is that something? How is that typically taken care of from a legal point of view?
Candidly, I've never been provided with a copy of that, so I don't know what that document says. So I'm not prepared to comment on that at this time.
Because I guess my feeling is that as a member of council, I would certainly vote to support the chief in his efforts to put together a program to deal with the various issues, primarily juvenile related, it looks like. But I would be hesitant to approve carte blanche a lot of these things, which it sounds like may need to be looked at in greater detail to determine the best way to put them together and what the legal way to put them together is. So could we rephrase the motion perhaps to support the chief in developing these programs, and we look forward to him coming back to council with more detail, and so we can act on them in the appropriate manner?
Well, my feeling is that probably the number one thing that any governmental body can do is to provide security for the citizens and residents in the community. And we've hired a chief of police who we've given that responsibility to, and he's made recommendations to us as to what he'd like to implement. I have every faith in the chief that he has thoroughly reviewed and researched his suggestions so that there's nothing that he found to be illegal or in any way infringe on anyone's rights. He's very familiar and conscious with the law, and I have every confidence in his suggestions to us. So I would not consider amending my motion to explore this further. I think that he's done a more than adequate job in putting this proposal together.
Well, we have right away, I just had asked Don whether a borough or a police department establishes a town watch program, and I believe he just said that it's not done that way. It's not done under the, we'd be deputizing the public, basically, if we created that, right? Well, I don't know, creating a second police force or whatever, but it's not that a town watch program is not done under the police department. So I guess that would be my first question. Am I correct with that?
My experience has been that the town watch is formed by community members that are concerned about their community. They organize, they raise money, they have programs, and they work hand in hand with the police and they support, the police support their efforts. For instance, at Halloween prep, there may be the town watch going around making sure the kids are safe. They work in conjunction with the police department. So the police department may be instrumental in trying to get the folks organized and originally organized and help them operate, but ultimately the operation is that of the residents.
Okay, but they're not reporting to the police department? No.
Okay.
So that would be just
Correct.
one example of this, where they're good ideas, but I want to make sure that we go about instituting them in the correct way. And my second concern was the list of how the behaviors are being addressed in the juveniles, which looks to me like it's a law. This is what happens first time, this is what happens second time, this is what happens third time, and I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert in police matters, but I wonder whether this actually needs to be addressed at the level of an ordinance. So that's why I'm saying that we need to be careful what we're voting on. Certainly I support this is what I want. I support these ideas, and I support his concerns and how we would like to go about them with these various programs. But I think that at the point of what sort of motion I feel comfortable voting for, it would be to express my support. But not to say, yes, you may do this, this, and this, because I don't know that we have that, that's what I want. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with words today. That we have that authority to do that.